will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Patrick. How you doing, sir?
Yes, is this Rudy Davis?
Yes, I've talked to your wife, Agnes.
Yes. Good to hear you. She asked me to call you to help fill you in on what's going on with our case process to see if you might be interested in taking it over or not.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. It won't take long, just so you know who I am and what we're all about. So I'm getting in the truck now. I was in the store, but I wanted to get good audio here. So we run a Christian prison ministry in Texas. We advocate anywhere between 30 and 40 different prisoners, many of whom I believe are innocent. Some of them are not innocent, but they're still Christians and they're asking for Christian pen pals. I do not get involved in the legal aspect of things. I do not receive money on behalf of prisoners. What I do is all my phone calls are recorded and they're put up on the internet for people to listen to unless you as a prisoner specifically tell me not to, and I let the prisoners tell their story. And also it connects you with others in the body of Christ who may have more time to do activities that you need done. If you do need legal stuff done, if you need something researched, it won't be me necessarily, but there may be somebody out there who listens to your voice and can help. I'm overloaded. I've got like, my phone rings pretty much from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed with, so.
Yes, sir. Yes, but I understand.
But
that's good. I appreciate your help and anything that you can do, and I hope you're able to continue in a good way the things that you're doing for all of us. It's not just me. It's this prison system has gone to a point to where it's gotten so bad that so many innocent people are incarcerated over things over winning a case rather than finding justice. And this is
yes,
this is a terrible thing that's going on.
No, let me quick. Yes. Yes, yeah. I want to give you, I'm going to turn it over to you, but one last thing I wanted to say is I definitely agree with you. Our prison system has gotten out of control, and I should have introduced myself as a Bible-believing follower of the Lord Jesus Christ. The King James Bible is my instruction book for how I live my life, but go ahead, sir, and whatever you would like to say, I don't know if there's anything you want us to know about you, and I agree with what you said about our prison system has gotten completely insane, and there's a lot of innocent men and women in prison.
Yeah. Well, and I'm one of them, but the information that I have tells its own story about the truth without me having to say it. So.
Well, how can people learn about your case? Do you have a website? Do you have anybody that's put together your information on the outside?
Just my wife Agnes right now. Use her email address in Brussels, Belgium.
Okay.
Now, our story is quite unique because she was looking for a Native American son of a chief to help in her teens, and that was a long, long time ago, 53 or 54 years ago, and until 2012, we didn't have any contact. A friend of ours, mutual friend, one that she wrote to and one that I was in prison with at Monroe, gave me her address. And I had just had fallen out with my previous wife. She had taken $40,000 of my money and left, and didn't say goodbye or anything like that, and just kind of crushed me. But when I finally pulled out of it, then I had been moved to Coyote Ridge, and the address that I had been given had been lost. So I thought that I wouldn't be able to have any connection with her, and 2 years down the road, I get this letter with this address on it, and we start connecting and stuff, and needless to say, our friend is happy about it, but then in the process, he had done the work that he was supposed to do. and he passed away at Coyote or at Monroe with brain cancer after he had connected us. So,
wow. Do you mind? Have you been in prison 32 years? Is that true?
yes.
Wow. Well, our prayers are with you, Patrick. What can people do to help? I mean, it sounds like you've been through one heck of a tribulation, and I certainly will pray for you. What can people do to help your situation?
I have a personal restraint petition that was sent to Spokane here in March, and it was immediately taken up and sent to Ninth Circuit District Court in San Francisco. The case number, if you would take the case number and have people write a little postcard or something to the judge that is trying this and connect it with this, the case number is, just a second here.
Now, is this a state case or a federal case?
This is a federal case now. I've
Okay.
asked them to review all of my appeal and all of my trial transcript and to check on the things, because I am a hereditary line in the leaders, not only in one part of my family, but 4 or 5 parts. I have chief bloodline coming from 5 or 6 different relatives, and this has been a problem with our reservation. The council that's elected is always corrupt and wanting to use the money for their own ideas after they get in there and don't care about our people. I, on the other hand, even though I've been locked down and stuff, I had a niece who had gotten pregnant and didn't have a man with her to help or anything, and so when Agnes and I were together, I would send beadwork to her, and she would sell it and send the money to my family members there that needed it. And this is the first time that anybody from my reservation, especially Chief Bloodline, had been able to go back to Europe and get money with the things that they sell and take care of their family with it. I've given my family thousands and thousands of dollars through that already. My beadwork is probably the best in the state of Washington, and probably even better than that. But as time goes by, maybe Agnes will send you pictures of the stuff that I do. She's got a coat that I made out of different bag leathers and stuff, and put a calendar picture from Alaska with 3 wolves next to a river lake, and it's a 13-inch by 9-inch beaded portrait of 3 wolves at dusk in a kind of a pink and yellow situation, and the wolves stand out from all of that next to the water.
No, I look forward to seeing a picture of that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what is the name of your Indian tribe? Do you have so if we wanted to know more about the tribe that...
Yes, Colville Confederated Tribes of Washington.
Okay, very good.
Yes, Mike, the chairman is Mike Marchand at this time. It's kind of strange because here 2 years ago, in 2016, I sent a letter to the then tribal chairman, who I had taught how to play guitar, and as we hadn't been around each other for all the time that I've been down, and I wrote him a letter asking him to help, and it wasn't but 2, maybe 3 on the outside, but 3 weeks maximum from the time that he received the letter until he had a heart attack and passed away. Now, I don't know what the background of that is, but I'm kind of assuming that maybe he wanted to help and couldn't bring his mind around how to do and still stay afloat. Our case runs with the previous tribal council trying to cover themselves for power abuse and police brutality on my father under arrest warrant that was for failure to appear at a tribal hearing for him, and the appearance date was 6 days in the future. So when they arrested him 6 days earlier, the arrest warrant was fraudulent, and they based everything that happened afterwards on that. The tribal council asked the chief judge to file charges against us and stuff. After the shootout, the tribal police, the police chief stopped trying to harass us or anything, because he felt that he was in the wrong and removed himself and the two officers that had hurt my dad. And in the process, he had told the rest of the people, police officers, to stand down. Well, the assistant police chief thought that he should pursue this, and there was nothing for them to do but to come out in the middle of the night. Well, it seems kind of strange that a desk officer that's been at the desk for 18 years should choose this one night to put on a shooter's vest and load his weapon and go out to a place and act clandestine, not announce, not knock at the door, not go to the front door or anything, but come over the back of the property, and in the process start shooting. And my dad got shot, and the assistant police chief got shot, and another Sergeant Millard got shot and killed. Well, the line, if you look at all of the facts and the evidence and stuff, they were in direct line with each other on a hillside, and it's set up so that it looked as though the tribal police assistant police chief had shot Millard. The reason why I say that is because after the shooting was done and everything, the next morning and stuff, he was carted away, the assistant police chief, and he would not relinquish his weapon for testing or anything until 6 months into our trial, and it was almost 9 months after that happened, from August to middle of March. And the tribal council had paid $50,000 to have us tried in Okanagan County court system, this is the only time that this has ever happened. And it was because the tribal council wanted to remove hereditary chiefs and hereditary leaders so that they could do what they wanted to do, which was implant gaming on the reservation. That was a hot deal at the time. There was also drugs involved with this, and 12 of the people that signed the petition to have us arrested and stuff are now passed away because of their coke habit, which left them with some type of cancer, either brain cancer or throat cancer or lungs or pancreas or something. Every one of them has passed away. My father passed away in prison for something that he didn't do. So
you mind if I ask you this situation that you're describing, where these men got shot and you were falsely accused, and your father, has this ever been written down in a writing on paper? Have you ever written it down anywhere?
The judge in our case passed away in 2004, okay? And she had her husband, who was Richard V. Alumbauch out of Arizona. He was asked by her to do everything that he could to get me free, because she thought she'd put away an innocent man. So in 2006, he come to visit me came to visit my wife Penny at first and told her that she had said this. And then he told it to me at Monroe when I was there. And he supposedly has a book. I don't know, but I haven't seen it. He claims that it's close to being finished. And he's went through all of the record, the trial record, and talking with different witnesses and people that were involved in it in one sort or another, the jury people and things like that, and ex-police officers and things. And the whole finding of it is that the shooting scene was so corrupted after an officer tried to shoot a dog the next morning before they picked up a large body that it should never have went into court. None of the material should have ever got to court. Number one. Number two, the jurisdiction laid on the tribal council, or tribal judicial system, and the main judge stood in the front of her lawn at 2:30 in the morning and saw the whole incident come down. Her statement was that the tribal council came to her and asked her to press charges against us. She said no, because we didn't do anything wrong. That the shooting first came from where the police had found themselves. And that should have been the end of it. But the council, being afraid for themselves and seeing that there could possibly be a police brutality case and conspiracy to commit murder on a reservation, they decided to try to push and make us look bad so that they could continue being the chest pounders that they were and act like they were doing right for all the people. And
well, let me ask you. No, Mr. Hoffman, the judge, the female judge that found you guilty, or that was the judge in your trial, what was her name?
Yes, Joann Alumbauch.
Alan. Alumbauch. Okay, and let me be clear. She's dead now, right? She passed away. Okay, and before she died, she said that she felt that she had sent an innocent man to prison, and she asked her husband to write a book so that the truth would get out, and he's writing the book now, and we should be able to find him and try to get our hands on this book. Is that true?
Yes. I have his address and phone number, if you...
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Just a minute, I got to look through my phone book and find it.
Okay.
Richard V. Yes, Richard V. Alumbauch. Now, I asked him for an affidavit last year at this time, and he sent it to me, and that is included with what is sent into court now. That and the
You have 60 seconds remaining.
The last statement from my trial attorney, Mr. Richard Price, who has tried to get me free every 3 years on clemency in the state of Washington. Something I didn't know until the last time he told me. Anyway, let me call you back because I'm about to get cut off here.
Okay, when you call me back, our prayers are with you.
30 seconds remaining.
Our prayers are with you, and I would like to ask you, how have you maintained your sanity being in prison for 32 years as an innocent man, and are you coming up for parole?
There's no parole, and I keep my sanity by playing music and talking with Creator. I'm a pipe carrier, but I'm into every religion, not just the Catholic Church. I was born and raised Catholic, but I believe in Creator and believe it.
All right, that was Patrick Hoffman. He's going to call back and continue his story. It sounds like, you heard his religious statement. I won't expound on that anymore, but you guys can decide and discern for yourself. It's got quite a story. My goodness.
You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. This call is from
Pat Hoffman.
an inmate at Washington State Penitentiary. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up.
Hello again.
Hello, Mr. Hoffman. Yes.
Did you hear? Yes. Some things to think about, eh?
Yeah, I definitely want to reach out to this Mr. Alumbauch and try to find out where he is on your book, and if he maybe we can't get hold of that. Maybe I don't know if he's selling it on Amazon or how he's distributing that, but we definitely need to get a copy of that book.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. He told Agnes that, and he told me that in the letter that he sent accompanying the affidavit that he sent in. Now, the affidavit doesn't clearly state what he said to me for obvious reasons. He was a professional clinical psychologist, and he's now retired. He's a couple of years older than I am, and he's been down the road and knows the system can be very unsettled at the very least, and can be corrupt at the very most. So he's well understood with what was the problem there. He knows that there was a coke ring involved with the tribal council and all of that, because there's medical evidence that he was able to obtain, and there was statements from others that just kind of fell out about their drug habits and things like that. So my point is, with all of this, if they're dead and gone, there's no way that the state can come back at them or anything. So why do they have me still locked up? I mean, there's different ones that I've talked to at different times used my case reference as help for them, and they've gotten free. Yet I'm still locked up, and I wanted to address this in the paperwork that I sent to the Ninth Circuit Court, and have a complete look over my case again. Because when we were at trial, we were the only trial that had a special prosecutor as well as a regular prosecutor. The special prosecutor was Mr. Hicks, who stepped down from Spokane federal court area to have us tried in state court, because he didn't want to argue a certain issue. Now, that issue was most probably jurisdiction, because there's always been a question of jurisdiction of federal courts on tribal lands, and especially with ours, because I've had people look at the paperwork that I have seen that states that the tribal council back in '53 had given Public Law 280 its reins on the reservation, not by getting a vote of 5/8 of the preceding voting population, but by substituting the vote for the council for that year as that vote, and you can't do that. There are 4 definite steps that institute Public Law 280 on reservation lands, and that can't be circumvented in any manner. And yet it's done, and they've gone through this all of these years, and nobody seems to know about arguing it or anything, and it would disrupt all of the cases that have ever come out of my reservation, because they've been tried by either Ferry County or Okanagan County or Spokane Federal Court or something like that. In fact, Yvonne Swan had the same thing happen to her out in the Spokane County area 5 years before our incident, and she fought that for 22 years, and finally they gave her parole with custody, and but it changed the law to allow that women are able to protect themselves in dire strait situations such as this. But under state law, that gives me the precedence to have the same Equal Protection Act under equal protection law under the state of Washington. So if they're allowing them to be able to protect themselves, I had a right to protect my father in this incident. And it was my actions that kept him alive, even though he was shot in the chest.
Mr. Hoffman, are you familiar?
Yes.
Are you familiar with a government system named PACER that handles all the court records?
No, I don't.
I was just thinking, if you had a federal case number, all federal court records are put in PACER, and if you could give me your case number, I might be able to look up your transcripts. I would love to look at also your trial transcripts.
Well, my wife has a memory stick that contains all of the transcript of the trial, all of the police records, and all of the post-trial appeal briefs that were involved in it. So if you get a hold of her, you can have her send you a copy of that, and you can have that. I don't have a problem with that. The more people that know about my dire straits, the better. Because sooner or later, somebody's going to say enough and get this old man out.
Amen. Well, our prayers are certainly with you, and we would love to learn more about your case. Hopefully, your wife Agnes has the case number.
Just a minute. I got to find it here. I've got it in my book, but I'm lazy about putting things in alphabetical order, and when I have to look for where it's at here. I think it's in that portion here. Anyway,
so
it's good talking to you, and I thank you for your interest, and I thank you for the things that you're doing, not just for me right now, but for everyone. It's a very valuable and very humanitarian thing that needs to be continued. There should be more people like you out there. In fact, I tell my wife on a regular basis that when we get this done and over with, that we're going to have our own website to help more people get free from this.
No, amen. There certainly is a terrible problem that we have in this country with it's putting way too many innocent people in prison. Do you have a Bible, or do you want a Bible? Just curious if you have one in prison.
I haven't had one in a while. My friends and family sent it to me, but these COs and stuff over the years and stuff want to use things like that as a trigger to try to create confrontation and violent action and stuff. And so I when they took it, I just let them go with it. I figured that maybe along the way they would open it up and read it and be ashamed of themselves for the error of their ways, but that hasn't come to pass as far as I can tell. So, but I don't have a Bible now, and I would appreciate one if you
bet.
If you cared to send one to me. That's not a problem. I've read the Bible 6 times since I've been down, and I've been a pipe carrier for the Native American Circle in here for 17 years or more, and I have my own personal pipe now that I haven't woke up yet because my wife hasn't been able to be with me in such a way that we can wake up the pipe and have offer prayer with it. So
okay.
Oh, come on. Where the hell is
You still looking for that case number? That federal case number? I might be able to get it from I might be able to get it from Agnes.
Catastrophe.
I might be able to get it from
Yes,
Agnes.
Yes, Agnes has it, but it's 18. Here it is. Case number is 18-70959. And the name is Hoffman versus Holbrook.
Okay. All right.
In go now.
No, if we put
I don't have the phone number with me, but it's available.
Okay, if we put you on our website,
Okay.
it's up to you. But would you like? Usually, I put the person's name and their prison mailing address.
Yes.
And their birthday. I don't know if you want people to know your birthday, and also your arrest date. Like, what date were you arrested?
I turned myself justice on August 29th, 1986.
Wow. Okay, that's a long time. And do you want people to know your birthday? Do you want people to know your birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
3/5/49, 1949.
Very good. Okay. Well, our prayers are with you, Mr. Hoffman. It's really breaks my heart that you've had to go through this, and we'll certainly look into your case and see if we can't learn about it. I'm going to reach out to that Mr. Alumbauch and see if I can't see where he's at with that book.
Yeah, that would be a help. But you can also find the material through Agnes too. Now, if you go to what is put on our case by the prosecutor, find that he had this that was there at the shooting and was there at the incarceration and all of this stuff, and he wasn't anywhere. In fact, when I was served with the paperwork in court in Okanagan County, the then prosecutor was named Doug Bull, and Mr. Jack Burchard, who was a past member of the tribal attorney system, came to work unopposed in his bid for prosecutor of Okanagan County. Mr. Bull came to me apologetically and says, "I'm sorry I have to do this. If it was up to me, you would be going free, but I'm going out of office, and this new officer is taking this up." And the reason why they took it up was because the tribal council paid $50,000 to have us tried and convicted, so that the tribal council would look good instead of having to answer for conspiracy to commit murder and police brutality and a whole bunch of other things. They were completely gone awry at the time. Anyway, this, where was I going with this? Anyway, it's been one case of lies after another, covering it over like the shingles on the house. One covers the other so that everything looks pristine, and if you go digging about it and stuff, you get tired of digging before you find your answers. There's 6,068 pages in transcript, and there's another 400, maybe 600 in appeal brief. That's appeal alone. We lost two abilities to defend ourselves at appeal stage because the Division Level 3 in the state of Washington held on to it for 18 months and then passed it along to the state Supreme Court. And the state Supreme Court was so out of balance that they could not find any of the 23 issues that we had for overturn. They would not answer them or act on them in any way, and they went so far as to try to ascribe felony eluding, which was something that was not even argued or became a trial issue or anything like that in our case. So you can see that the state Supreme Court had already been touched. You see, after they paid the $50,000 to Okanagan County, the federal courts, by way of whoever was dishing out funds through the Bureau of Indian Affairs or federal court systems or what have you, paid to tribal council In 1986, after I was arrested, they got $2.6 million to upgrade their police department. There was no upgrade. When we were found guilty in 87, April 1st, 87, 2 weeks later, they received another $2.5 million to upgrade their police system. And I'm quite sure that most of the money went to have different court officials turn their face to a different direction and not look at our case at all. Because that's the only way they could get by. If they gave a decision, their decision would have been faulty.
Can you say the name of this Indian tribal council? Like, if people wanted to investigate them or learn about them, what's their name? Again, you said it before, but I didn't catch it.
Yes, Colville Confederated Tribes, and the tribal council is located at Nispelem, Washington.
How do you spell Colville?
Colville.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been having trouble with the U.S. government for years. We had a reservation almost half the size of the state of Washington, from Walla Walla all the way to the Canadian border, and from the Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to the Cascade Mountains, and both sides of the Columbia River and all of the other rivers were part and parcel of our land. Immediately after U.S.S. Grant came into office, and we had just got the paperwork done to have a treaty as a reservation, he had the military come in and move all of our people from the east side of the Columbia River to the west side, and cut 3/4 of our reservation out so that people could have a place to develop. No payment, no nothing, no questions, no nothing. If somebody bucked the issue, they got shot. They got terminated.
Wow. Does Agnes have a picture of you? Does Agnes have a photograph of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can have her send it. I'll call her in just a few minutes here.
Okay.
When we're done. I really appreciate what you're doing. Even if you don't do anything, God bless you.
No, thank you, sir. We just want your story to get out, and we want you to have a voice. And I really need your trial transcripts and those books. But I'll and if you want to write any letters, if you want to write your own story, I can scan those letters and put them up on the internet.
Well, I have given lots and lots of letters about what went down with this to my wife and stuff, and she still has them in copy. That's in my own handwriting and stuff. So I can tell her, and you can tell her too. She knows that I'm giving full consent to allow everything to go to you that you need to in order to get my situation out to the public. So.
Well, very good. We'll certainly do the best that we can, and our prayers are with you. And I will be sending you a Bible, and the Bible is where I get my strength, and it's how I live my life. So I hope you can get some strength from it too. It sounds like they took yours away that you had before.
Yes. Well, I appreciate the year of Jubilee, because I recall from my Bible readings that there was a time every 7 years that the prison gates were opened.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And all the prisoners were freed. So
yeah,
thank you for that.
Amen. That's the name of our website, and I think it was.
Yes.
Amen. No, God bless you, Patrick, and it's good to hear your voice, and I'm glad we got a chance to talk today.
Yes, you have Agnes's
email
address.
Yes,
right?
I do, and her phone number too. I've got her phone number too.
Good. Go ahead and call her, because I'm going to be called in just a little bit. I won't be able to talk to her.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
You take care. God bless you and uplift you in all things.
Okay.
Appreciate.
No, God bless you too, Patrick, and our prayers are with you. We'll talk to you at a later time.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do you have cleaners?
No.